Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and I'm delighted to return to one of my favorite topics on this channel, and that is traveling through parallel realities. If you get a chance to check out my book, The Reality Revolution, The Mind-Blowing Movement to Hack Your Reality, you can read about my own experiences in shifting through realities. Oftentimes when I hear people talking about this on different channels with different meditations, it sounds too woo-woo and it ends up being just words. When people say quantum or parallel reality or reality shift, a lot of that stuff just sort of becomes meaningless and unimportant. But I'm here to argue with you that it's a real phenomenon. It's a real thing. And as a futurist that looks out into the future at what is possible, I believe there will be a time where technology will actually catch up with our understandings of quantum physics so that we will be able to travel through realities even easier. For many who meditate often and who master their consciousness, now is the time for you to take advantage of the multiverse. I know this through my own experience, and there's no way for me to prove an experience to you, just like there's no way to prove God to you, because we experience God, but I can't prove that experience with you. I can only share my own experiences and what has happened with me, and then I can give you the techniques that I used, and I can tell you, you got to try it yourself. I believe that Neville Goddard spoke about parallel reality shifts several different times in the techniques that he utilized. He even talked about traveling astrally to different worlds and definitely advocated for the possibility of a science that would adhere to the idea that we could shift and change realities. Joseph Murphy spoke in very beautiful terms before there was a greater understanding of quantum physics. But oftentimes you hear different New Thought teachers from long ago, and they're talking about shifting realities now that we understand what's actually going on. By utilizing this model, it has helped me to understand the ways in which I can shift and how to properly shift. If you don't understand parallel realities or parallel universes, where have you been? It's literally on every TV show. It's in thousands of movies. It's streamed everywhere. People are constantly talking about it. I see it in anime and comic books. It is an important topic. It is a part of our consciousness right now. It is in the zeitgeist. Parallel universes are no longer just a feature of a good sci-fi story. There are now scientific theories that support the idea of parallel universes beyond our own. However, the multiverse theory remains one of the most controversial theories in science. Our universe is unimaginably big. Hundreds of billions or trillions of galaxies spin through space, each containing trillions and billions of stars. Some researchers studying models of the universe speculate that the universe's diameter could be 7 billion light years across. Others think it could be infinite. But it is all that's out there. Science fiction loves the idea of parallel universes and the thought that we might be living just one of an infinite number of possible lives. Multiverses aren't reserved for Star Trek or Spider-Man or Doctor Who. Real scientific theory explores and in some cases supports the case for universes outside, parallel to, or distant from, but mirroring our own. Multiverses and parallel worlds are often argued in the context of other major scientific concepts like the Big Bang, string theory, and quantum mechanics. Around 13.7 billion years ago, everything we know of was an infinitesimal small singularity. Then, according to the Big Bang theory, it burst into action, inflating faster than the speed of light in all directions for a tiny fraction of a second. Before 10 to the 32th seconds had passed, the universe had exploded outward to 10 to the 26 times its original size in a process called cosmic inflation, which to me represents the thought of God just creating the universe in an instant, and we're seeing an expansion from that. Many researchers base their ideas of parallel universes on quantum mechanics. the mathematical description of subatomic particles. In quantum mechanics, multiple states of existence for tiny particles are all possible at the same time. A wave function encapsulates all of those possibilities. However, when we actually look, we only ever observe one of the possibilities. This is the observer effect. We collapse the infinite possibilities of the wave into a single particle, as proven by the double-slit experiment. According to the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, as described by the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, we observe an outcome when the wave function collapses into a single reality. But the many worlds theory proposes instead that every time one state or outcome is observed, there is another world in which a different quantum outcome becomes reality. This is a branching arrangement in which instant by instant our perceived universe branches into near infinite alternatives. Those alternate universes are completely separate and unable to intersect, so while they may be unaccountable versions of you living a life that's slightly or wildly different from your life in this world, you'd never know it. The many worlds theory is the most courageous take on the quandary of quantum mechanics. Physicist Sean Carroll wrote in his book Something Deeply Hidden, Quantum Worlds and the Emergence of Space-Time, that this is the most straightforward theory, although there are some wrinkles. One of those wrinkles is that the many worlds idea is not really falsifiable. It's an important component of scientific thought and is the way the scientific community develops ideas that can be explored with observation and experimentation. If there's no opportunity to find evidence against a theory, that's bad for science. So you have scientists and physicists that are always going to naturally be against this particular theory because they cannot prove anything. Some physicists believe in a flatter version of multiple universes. That is, if the universe that we live in goes on forever, there are only so many ways that the building blocks of matter can arrange themselves so they assemble across infinite space. Eventually, any infinite number of particles must repeat a particular arrangement. Hypothetically, in big enough space, those particles must repeat arrangements as large as entire solar systems and galaxies. So your entire life might be repeated elsewhere in the universe, down to what you ate for breakfast yesterday. At least that is the theory. There are certainly many that try to theorize that it's impossible that parallel realities exist and that it's impossible for us to prove or explore them. And that's where we come in. We are consciousness explorers, and we can travel through parallel realities. I can only tell you that I've experienced this. I've discussed this with many wonderful writers and experts like Cynthia Sue Larson, who discusses this in her book on quantum jumps. When you literally see objects disappear, buildings disappear, you start to understand the ways in which reality can shift. Reality Transurfing, an amazing book written by Vadim Zeland, using a quantum physics perspective, is almost like a software program that you can utilize to shift into different realities. As it surmises in the book, this is something that they learned how to do on Atlantis. And there are ways that we can travel through these realities through quantum jumps and what they call an energetic braid behind your head called the plait. So I've discussed these things on several episodes. But how can we travel to parallel realities with our consciousness? How can we make this a legitimate subject of study and experimentation? I'm going to talk about the different ways in which we can possibly travel through realities that are available to us. We will look into the future and discuss the different kind of technologies that might help us move more efficiently into a multiverse where we can travel into realities much easier. Of course, hypothetically speaking, the concept of traveling in consciousness to parallel realities is a mix of quantum physics, metaphysics, and speculative fiction, and no scientifically proven method can currently exist to undertake such travel. Let's explore a few potential methods if we surmise that it's possible. First of all, you have quantum entanglement and superposition. Quantum mechanics suggests particles can be in multiple states at once, or superposition, and that pairs of particles can become linked in such a way that the state of one determines the state of the other, no matter the distance between them entanglement. Albert Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. He was seeing things that were moving faster than the speed of light, responses from two particles faster than the speed of light. If multiverses exist due to quantum events, then theoretically one might be able to tap into these other realities through a deep understanding and manipulation of quantum states. The second method that I believe will start to integrate the multiverse into our technologies is brain-computer interfaces. As technology progresses, there might come a day when we can directly link our consciousness to computational devices. If a method were devised to simulate or tap into parallel universes, a brain-controlled interface could provide the bridge for our consciousness to travel there. Third, vibrational frequency. Some theories, especially in the realm of metaphysics and spirituality, suggest that different realities operate on different vibrational frequencies. Adjusting one's consciousness to align with these frequencies might allow travel between them. The fourth is through meditation. There are numerous anecdotal reports of people experiencing alternate realities or dimensions through the use of deep meditative states, and I would include a subset of this as psychedelics. There are a number of anecdotal reports regarding psychedelic substances that are similar to meditation. While this doesn't provide a concrete evidence of multiversal travel, it suggests there is a potential avenue for exploration. The fifth is through wormholes. Hypothetically, wormholes could act as shortcuts through space-time, connecting distant points in our universe, or potentially even different universes. If such structures exist and could be stabilized, they might provide a way to physically or perhaps mentally travel to parallel worlds. Some have surmised that when quantum phenomena exists within the wave state, that natural wormholes could exist between them. The sixth is the simulation theory, which we have embraced recently on this channel. I've discussed on several episodes now. We've discussed universal laws in relation to the simulation, but if we are in a simulation, as many theories suggest, then perhaps there might be ways to access or switch between different simulation scenarios, similar to changing game servers or realities. And the seventh is the observer effect. One interpretation of quantum mechanics is that reality exists in a state of probability until observed. Potentially, by mastering the act of observation or intention, one might influence or select which reality they experience. Now, of course, these are still speculative and hypothetical. But there are some different ways that we can delve deeper into these methods to comprehend the possibilities of traveling into parallel realities. Let's take a look at quantum entanglement and superposition. There is an amazing article that I recommend that you read called Advances in High-Dimensional Quantum Entanglement by Erhard, Kren, and Zellinger in the June 2020 publication of Nature Reviews Physics. Another I recommend that you read is Quantum Mechanics with Patterns of Light, Progress in High-Dimensional and Multidimensional Entanglement with Structured Light, in the December 2019 edition of AVS Quantum Science. We are becoming more and more advanced in ways to manipulate quantum entanglement. And I had recorded another version of this where I went into detail about these technologies. And it is a little bit hard to understand, but I can tell you these articles will summarize that this is a true possibility. This is not something that is just being dreamed about. It is real. And it is real now. It's going to happen. So we will have devices to manipulate quantum states. Future devices may be able to create conditions for quantum entanglement or superposition tailored to an individual's consciousness. Think of a quantum VR helmet, where instead of immersing you in a virtual world, it taps into your brain and quantum phenomena to bridge realities. I believe that this is being worked on somewhere. Now, ultimately, the master and the yogi and people that are highly advanced in meditation are using their brain, which ultimately is a device to manipulate quantum states. This takes training and dedication, but truly the brain does not need any other technology. But my theory is, as we see in our society, that technologies will speed up this state of consciousness. Consciousness is always reflected in our technologies, and we're going to start to see this being explored, so it's easier for somebody that's never meditated to simply put on a quantum VR helmet, and they'll simply go into another state. One really fascinating book that I have previously mentioned is a fictional book called Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I really hope that, as I had read, that it becomes a mini-series on Netflix, because it's one of my favorite books of all time. And that discusses an isolated quantum chamber. That would be a room where quantum states are highly controlled, allowing for a more direct interaction or experience with quantum phenomena and potentially other realities. And in the book, they had an isolated quantum chamber that you went into, and then you focused with your intention, you thought of something that you wanted, and you opened the door and you'd end up in a parallel reality. And it became an art in the way that they would create their intention and walk out into the new reality. Don't take my word for it. This is actually being done. In July 24th of 2018, the University of Rochester, there is an article that you can find where Nicholas Bigelow created a vacuum chamber to create these quantum effects. At some point in time, the technology may be available where we can create chambers in which there is a void. Part of the reason why Dr. Joe has a void meditation is that it becomes like a quantum chamber in which you can then move beyond into exploring parallel realities. And the quantum chamber is the wave state. We are naturally in a wave state at some levels of meditation, particularly in theta and delta. And that is ultimately our quantum chamber. And we're going to do a little meditation at the end here, where I'm going to shift you into a reality. But I'm trying to talk about a future in which realities will be explored. How are we going to actually integrate this into our society? Isolated quantum chambers. Check it out. The second is brain-computer interfaces. I believe that there's going to be reality switching software, similar to choosing different virtual environments. Brain-computer interfaces could have programs that simulate or allow users to interface with other realities. This is the concept that's proposed in the amazing show on Amazon Prime called The Peripheral with Chloe Grace Moretz. In that particular story, they are able to use a virtual device, and they're able to use their brains and use quantum tunneling to actually coexist in another body, in another universe. It's all digital. So there's a signal that's being communicated between each universe that is actually digital. And I strongly believe that there is no fiction, and that we may see some aspect or something similar to this in the future as these quantum technologies develop. It's a brave new world when it comes to the multiverse, and we are not talking about it. It's all just simple talk with consciousness. The second thing with BCIs is direct neural stimulation, stimulating the brain directly to create sensations or experiences, or perhaps even perceptions of other realities. When we say the feeling is the secret, we may reach a point where we can stimulate the brain directly to create the feeling of something in particular, the feeling of wealth, the feeling of joy, the feeling of happiness, and then we could start experimenting on what exactly happens with that person and if the reality that they're in starts to change. These are things that are being experimented on. For instance, there's an article in Nature, December 5th, 2012, on manipulating individual quantum systems. Hiroshi and Wineland were awarded a Nobel Prize because they could measure and manipulate single particles without destroying their quantum properties. And I believe that we are going to reach a point where we can take a grouping of quantum properties, very much understanding a field of quantum properties starts to exist. And we can start taking the field and manipulating the field and shifting the reality through that field. The third thing I mentioned was vibrational frequency. And We could do an entire episode on that, in which I actually have. I don't know if I've released it yet. But understand that everything vibrates at its core. This belief posits that everything, from physical objects to thoughts and emotions, has a vibrational frequency. This is not entirely off base scientifically, as even solid objects are made up of atoms in constant motion producing vibrations. Realities are frequencies. Just as a radio can tune into different stations based on frequency, some metaphysical teachings suggest that different realities or dimensions might operate at different frequencies. Our conscious experience of reality is thus a matter of tuning in to a specific frequency. Consciousness is a tuner. The idea that our consciousness is capable of adjusting or attuning itself to different frequencies, allowing us to perceive different realities. There's certainly many ways that we can change our vibration. Obviously, the first is meditation. Through deep and focused meditation, practitioners might aim to elevate or change their vibrational state, seeking to align with a different reality. Techniques could include visualization, mantra repetition, sound-based meditations, quantum jumps, energy amplification, Tibetan singing bowls, or binaural beats. The second is sound and music. That's what works for me. Certain sounds or rhythms, especially those at specific frequencies, might help synchronize brainwave patterns to resonate at a desired frequency. That is why those particular sounds and rhythms are so popular on YouTube. This is the idea behind binaural beats and certain forms of sound healing. The third is breath work. Controlled breathing can alter your state of consciousness and can create a pattern which helps you achieve a higher vibrational state. In my own experience, I use fire breathing and different breathwork techniques in order to quantum jump properly, which I've introduced in a number of meditations. The fourth is sacred geometry. Some spiritual practices use intricate patterns and designs believed to represent the fundamental structures of reality. Contemplation or meditation upon these might aid in attuning consciousness to those frequencies. I like to meditate on the Sri Yantra, and when I do, I always open up my third eye, and I always use it when shifting into realities. It brings me into a state of unlimited possibilities. There are a number of different sacred geometries that I do use, and you can experiment, and you might find one that resonates with you. The fifth is crystals and stones. These are amazing. Many cultures believe certain stones and crystals vibrate at unique frequencies and can help in aligning or amplifying specific vibrational energies. A practitioner might meditate with a particular crystal or carry it with them as a talisman. The sixth is affirmations and intentions, which work for me immensely in changing vibrations. Repeated affirmations can help set a strong intention to adjust one's consciousness. You might say, I am attuning to the higher frequencies of love and light. You could say that regularly, and you start to see a difference in the world around you. It's more vivid and bright. The next would be sacred plants and rituals. Indigenous traditions use sacred plants in ritualistic settings to alter consciousness and perceive other realms and realities. Ayahuasca in Amazonian cultures is one example. And the eighth is energy healing. Practices like Reiki, Qigong, pranic healing work on the belief that manipulating or harmonizing the body's energetic frequencies can help you tune into different frequencies. These are all things for entire other episodes, but that is the third method that I mentioned. Now, the fourth is the one that we practice the most, and that is meditation. I believe that guided trips, combining traditional guides, different techniques, you can navigate alternate states or realities if the meditation is done properly with the right frequencies or techniques. I believe there are advanced meditations done by many that can be used to quantum jump into realities. I've tried to develop several, one in which you can quantum jump into the reality, one in which you meet your parallel self and you download information from them, allowing you to alter your current reality that you're in. It depends on what you believe in. In particular, I have found that the Merkaba meditation, the quantum jump meditation, are the ones that are most effective myself in legitimately seeing real shifts in my own reality. With my Aura program, which you can find a link in the description, my first reality con we talked about a 30-day and 90-day program of meditations that you can use to access the quantum field, find out exactly the reality that you want, start to build it over a period of time, and then enter into it energetically. I believe that you take your time on this and you focus on this, you're going to have amazing effects from it. At the end of this episode, I'll do a short meditation that you can use to travel into a parallel reality. The fifth thing I mentioned was wormholes. I believe in the future we'll see wormhole stabilization devices, theoretical machinery that can detect, create, and stabilize naturally occurring wormholes, allowing safe passage and/or observation. There's going to be mapping expeditions and amazing technologies that will start to utilize our understandings of wormholes. It's not just science fiction. The sixth thing that we've talked about is simulation theory, and understanding that we're in a simulation, and if that's the case, we can switch servers. So the first thing would be server switching. If reality is a simulation on some colossal cosmic server, perhaps there might be ways to log out of one reality and log into another. Second, we will learn how to code realities by understanding the universal laws and breaking it down like an algorithm. If our world is software, mastering the programming language could allow for reality modifications or explorations of different builds of existence. These are real things, and I will continue to talk about simulation theory as a fundamental component of my understanding of reality shifting. The final thing I mentioned was the observer effect, and I believe that we can capitalize on this through meditation, through intent-based meditation, in choosing the reality through the act of focused observation, and then feedback systems will be developed using the observer effect, technology that provides real-time feedback on quantum states in the user's environment, allowing the individual to actively practice and see the results of their observational intent. This is something that's really going to happen. We can control the quantum. It is possible for us to have quantum control. In quantum control, quantum systems are engineered and directed to achieve a desired outcome. Quantum systems are steered by external fields or controls to enhance their functionality and improve their behavior for various purposes. So particles like electrons and photons are capable of being in multiple probabilistic states in quantum mechanics, and they will start to utilize this. Depending on the specific system and desired manipulation, quantum control takes different forms. There's the Hamiltonian engineering, or one can engineer the system's Hamiltonian mathematical model to achieve desired operations or states by tailoring its interactions and energy levels with external fields. Measuring a quantum system in real time will eventually be able to provide us information about its state, allowing adjustments in real time to achieve desired results. Another technique that can be applied is optimal control theory, which uses mathematical optimization techniques to design control fields and sequences to drive quantum systems toward a desired state or to accomplish a specific function. These are things that are real, that can happen by understanding something as simple as the observer effect. Now, for some, the observation effect can be quite bizarre. The very act of watching and observing something affects the observed reality. We are learning more and more about this in the February 26th issue of Nature. Researchers at Weizmann Institute of Science have now conducted a highly controlled experiment demonstrating how a beam of electrons is affected by the act of being observed. The experiment revealed the greater the amount of watching, the greater the observer's influence on what actually takes place. So I believe by observing something in particular, by watching a video, by having a vision board, by doing that observation, you end up collapsing realities. In psychology, the observer effect is the name given to the phenomenon that occurs when the subject of study alters their behavior because they are aware of the observer's presence. In computer science, it names a situation in which a software bug seems to disappear or alter its behavior when one attempts to study it. It happens in electronics by attaching a measuring device of some type to a system being measured. Small amounts of capacitance, resistance, or inductance may be introduced. It's part of our nature, and I believe that we're constantly moving with our attention and intention and observing. And when we use this observer effect in our technologies, amazing things will happen. So this is all just me looking into the future. But I have explored these realities, and I have utilized these different techniques. So let's do a quick guided meditation for exploring a parallel reality. So take a moment, you can pause it here. Find a place where you can sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale slowly through your mouth. Allow your body to relax, releasing any tension from your muscles. Imagine your body surrounded by a soft, radiant light. This light acts as a protective barrier, ensuring that you are always safe no matter where your mind travels. As we begin, internally set the intention to safely explore and experience the vast expanse of parallel realities. Say to yourself with me right now, I am open to experiencing other realities with clarity, understanding, and safety. Say it again. I am open to experiencing other realities with clarity, understanding, and safety. Let's say it a third time with conviction. I am open to experiencing other realities with clarity, understanding, and safety. Take another deep breath. And imagine this intention turning into a glowing orb in your heart, pulsating with energy. Visualize a vast, cosmic space around you, filled with countless stars and swirling galaxies. Each of these galaxies represents a different reality, a different version of existence for you. As you float in this cosmic space, you feel a gentle pull from one particular galaxy. This is a reality your soul wishes to explore. Allow yourself to be drawn towards it. And as you approach, a portal shimmering with light appears before you. Recognize that this portal is your gateway to another reality, another version of existence. Trust in your intention and the protective light surrounding you and step forward into the portal. Place your tongue upon the roof of your mouth, your baga, with the intention of entering this reality. And as you sit there, as you're entering through this portal, do the fire breath with me. You breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, emphatically, for a few seconds, amplifying the energy in your body. Feel a gentle wave of energy as you move through the portal. Everything is calm. Everything is safe. You are floating, transitioning, merging. You find yourself standing in a vast, open field. This is your starting point in this new reality. As you look around, notice the differences. Maybe the colors are more vibrant, or perhaps there are unfamiliar structures in the distance. Walk forward and allow the new reality to unfold before you. Maybe you encounter different versions of people you know, or entirely new beings. Perhaps the laws of physics are different here, or there's a unique sense of time. Interact, observe, and experience without judgment. Remember, this is just one of the infinite possibilities of existence. As you explore, find a quiet spot within this reality. Maybe it's a serene garden or a tranquil beach. Sit down and reflect on your experience. What did you learn? How did it feel? What insights can you bring to your original reality? When you're ready, stand up and look to the horizon. A familiar shimmering portal appears, beckoning you to return. With gratitude in your heart for the experiences and insights, walk towards the portal. Feel the same gentle wave of energy as you transition back, carrying with you all that you've experienced and learned. Now back in the vast cosmic space, see the radiant light that surrounds you becoming ever brighter, gently guiding you back to your physical body. Feel yourself slowly merging with your physical form, starting from your toes and moving all the way to the top of your head. Take a deep breath, feeling the familiarity of your body, the ground beneath you, the air around you. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing movement back. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, returning to the present moment with a sense of wonder and gratitude for the journey that you've just undertaken. This is a guided meditation, and you have simply experienced in your imagination this parallel reality. Some experience a much more vivid reality than others, and some will swear to you that if they are not imagining it, that they're really there. And the more you experiment with these techniques, you can choose to communicate with other versions of yourself, or actually live in these realities. And someday, you're going to wake up and you're going to be in that reality. I've woken up in rooms that were not mine, in beds that were not mine, and later I discovered that they were. I've woken up in houses that I was not familiar with. And what I have found is that you have to be accepting of the changes. You have to fully embrace this movement into another reality. You may explore it for information, or you may actually choose to move your consciousness permanently into this other reality. If you don't believe in parallel realities, you could, at least at a minimum, understand that there is an information field that exists, where the information from these realities exist. It is your own journey, and you have to try it out and experiment and work with what resonates for you. If this is an area you want to explore, there may be some part of your soul that wants to merge different timelines or explore different timelines or other aspects of yourself. For each of us have their own spiritual journey involved within this, and understanding these dynamics can open yourself to a vast multiverse of possibilities. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.